when the husbands complain to me, they say their wife is not adventurous because she just wants to lie in one position. And somebody actually told me because I'm fat, I prefer to lie down flat. Because you know, when I lie flat, everything falls nicely in place, right? But if I go on top, things will start to shake around. It's not attractive. So, you know, you mentally, you're not present. Mentally, you're thinking,
right.
Oh gosh, what are you thinking? Oh gosh, what's he thinking?
Hey, so it's your boy Keston Holder, and I'm here on the live culture again, right? And I have a special guest here. I'll introduce her in a little while. But I wanna big up all my sponsors and them for tonight. One time, Ring Films for the production, Love Moments for our eats and for the decor. And really, alright, so we're going straight into it. So, with me is Miss Rebecca Beckles. And we're here to deal with Rebecca for our second episode of Skin to Skin with a sex therapist. Yes, I said with a sex therapist. So she's been a sex therapist for the last 3 years, but she's been a guidance counselor with the ministry for the last 16 years. And she even wrote a book, Eating His Cake and Wanting to Have It Too. The Married Man's Dilemma. But that's not all. Folks, this is your opportunity because she's writing a brand new book and we're taking name suggestions right here at the live couch. The first person to send in their name and Miss Rebecca selects that name, you know what happened? You get a free book. A free book, right? So, put your name suggestions in afterwards. We're not taking the same thing. It's not eating her cake. It's the female edition to it, but we're not taking eating her cake. You come with something original, right? And for all of you all out there, married couples, you're having a little problem home. You know, the bedroom thing ain't happening how it's supposed to happen. There's a place where you could go and talk about it. It's called the Happy Bedroom. Miss Rebecca has her own place to talk about it. And then she says it's a place where the bedroom becomes a happier place. Ah boy. So, the thing I wanted to know is, how all this experience? I want to know if there's something. No, Rebecca? Come on, man. Yeah, I say there was somebody there that, you know, gave this the experience. Well, don't worry. There's the place to that. Socials will be coming right after. So all you don't worry all yourself. All you get all the handles and all the hey. But there's not a matchmaking place, but oh gosh. If it's the right thing that God sends the way, we ain't saying no. And all you, I would have loved to be sitting here, but it had 2 people who was on the hot seat the last time, and they had to come back because a newlywed couple, you know what I mean, there's the place to talk about it. So I want to introduce none other than Jerome Butch and his wife Dion, and they come in to sit down on the hot seat. Live couch.
So I must say thanks to my boy Keston for holding it down with the intro. I'm here again with my beautiful wife Dion, and we're gonna get into another heavy hitting conversation, skin to skin, and we have sex therapists on the inside. And I'll let my wife take it over from here.
So Rebecca, why sex therapy? Why of all these things you studied sex therapy?
Well, I noticed at a particular point that a lot of persons were getting divorced. I mean, it didn't really come to my attention after my parents got divorced, but somehow like after I saw my friends getting divorced one after the next, and then I realized that even persons who were married were not happy. So they were there because they know how it gonna look. Yeah. They have to stay because both of them have to pay the mortgage, or they have children and you know they want the children to grow up in a stable 2-parent household, but they were not happy. Some of them were even cheating while in the relationship because you know we have to keep up this image as Christians. So I started to get really feel really sad and felt that I needed to do something, to make some kind of contribution toward this. And I was thinking, it's either I help single persons, so maybe they would not get married or put more thought into marriage before they went in, or help the persons who are already married, or maybe I could help the both of them. So I started to think about, okay, what are some of the main things that cause issues in relationships? I came up with 3. Communication, sexual intimacy, and finances. 3 big ones. I don't know if you could agree with me that those are 3 big ones. So I decided to look and see which one I wanted to focus on. I looked at communication, and because I already did a lot of communication courses, I decided, okay, I think I can handle that one. I don't need to study that again, because I'm really terrible with numbers, and I don't think a course could help me. I mean, really, I don't think a course can help me. That one went out, and because I was already comfortable talking about sex, even among married people who were blushing, I was comfortable, so I decided to go there. And sex therapy.
So if you source you one out of all of them to
Yes.
And I have a tendency to like to do things that a lot of people don't do. Like, for example, when I was looking for some sort of form of exercise, I started kickboxing. Because I don't know a lot of persons who actually do kickboxing. So I have a tendency to look for things that aren't very popular, you don't hear about a lot. And then there's the shock factor. What? Oh my gosh, you're sex therapist? You're single? So a single Christian sex therapist. I mean, there's a big shock factor that I present wherever I go.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
What is sex therapy?
Sex therapy really is not what people have in mind, right? So there was a friend of mine, a colleague actually, when I told him that I was going into sex therapy, he said he was going to come by me with 2 jugs of oil because he wanted to be my first client that I massaged.
What?
So for a lot of persons, right, sex therapy is about happy ending massages. It's about happy ending massages. It's about taking out your clothes in the therapist's office. It's about demonstrations, etc. So when people hear sex therapy, they think some kind of practical application is going down in the office.
Who tell them that though?
I think what we see on TV, we see a lot of things on TV and we believe it's true.
Misinformation.
Yeah. So a lot of people think sex therapy, that is what it is. It's very practical. But sex therapy is not really about that. It's about helping persons navigate the issues that they have in their sex life. So a single person can go to sex therapy, right? Because before you become a couple, you might have some things that you need to work out in yourself. And that is very important. Because sometimes we have our own issues that don't really bother us because we are single. But when we get into a couple setting, those demons come out.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can identify those before, some of your traumas, some of your ideas that you might have in your head that might not be accurate, that can come into your marriage and cause some problems, then you come to the sex therapist and we help you work through those. So when you get married, you don't have that problem anymore. So it's about talking. So we talk a lot. We give homework. I always give homework.
Right.
Because
This should be interesting homework though, from a sex therapist.
Yes. So I give you homework. So we don't do any practicals in the office, but I give you the practicals to go home and practice. And then you come back and you report and you tell me how it was. Right? Because if I don't give you homework and we just talk, and you go home and you don't do it, or when you do it, I don't check up on you, then how do I know that I was helping you? So we give homework and then the couple would come back and they will say if it worked and we give more suggestions. So it's not about this sleazy, illegal thing that people have in mind. It really is a lot about working out the issues. And of course, we know that the issues that a couple might have in their bedroom, a lot of times it is not about the bedroom. No, because when you work out all the semantics about what is happening in the actual physical sex life, nothing is wrong with it. but what is happening outside trickles down. And somehow they don't make the connection, so they show up and say, you know, we're having problems with our sex life. Nothing is wrong with the sex life. It's what is happening outside that is causing problems. So it's about helping you understand what might be the contributing factors, because sometimes we have some of the answers, but we just need somebody to bring it out. Yeah. So we help you understand what some of the issues might be. We help you work out what some of the solutions might be. You go home, you do your homework. Please do your homework, people, when I give you homework.
Some people don't like homework, but I'm sure they would like that.
Yes. Go home, do your homework like good students, and then come back and report, and then we go from there. Of course, there are cases where we would need to refer, yeah? So there might be cases where I have to refer because that person might need more help than I can offer them. And that is good practice too, because it doesn't make any sense holding on to somebody that you know you can't help. All right? Everywhere you go to your doctor, the doctor say, take 2 Panadol, you come back, it's still in pain. Doctor say, you know, I can't do nothing for you. You know, you write a little letter and pass you on. So there are some cases that I have to refer on.
So what are some of the issues that couples will come to you with? Because some people might be saying, nah, I don't need a sex therapist. What are some of the common issues that you're faced with?
Interestingly enough, most of my clients are men. So they would come because their wife is not willing to come. So sometimes I would get an inquiry and it's a man, and then he would say, I'll get back onto you. And then when he gets back onto me, he will say, you know, my wife is not open to it. And a lot of times it's because the wife does not consider sex and sexual intimacy as important as her husband does. So he is reaching out because in his mind there's a problem. But in her mind it's not so important. I mean, whatever it is we're working out, we can work it out. But you need to go to no person and pay no money is not that important. So some of the issues is one person might be more interested than the other person. I see that happening a lot. One person might be saying, why is my husband coming at me? We just had sex last week. You want to have sex again this week? The next person might be saying, you know, my wife falls asleep when we're having sex. And, you know, I have to be professional and keep a straight face. But in my mind, I'm wondering, how did that happen? How did that happen? But that actually does happen. People fall asleep when they're having sex. And then we have cases where the man would complain that his wife is not expressive enough in the bedroom. That is a lot of the complaints that I get. And here's what. Now, I'm a Christian. However, I find that a lot of Christian women are very prude. Right? Because we grew up in church. And that is actually a chapter in my book. The chapter is Good Christian Girls.
Interesting.
Yes, because here's what. We've been taught all our Christian life, you know, you have to be pure, you have to be chaste. It's not like men don't come after us, you know, they come in, but you know, you have to exercise self-control. And so mentally we locked off, right? And then when we get married, we just have to automatically turn that switch. Nobody really prepared us for what we're getting into. We never. So the question that is asked at the start of that chapter is, how is a good Christian girl who has had to practice self-control all her life, how is that person to turn into a freak in the sheets when she gets married?
All right, let's go there.
That's why you need to buy the book.
Married
people need to buy the book.
So give us a little peek inside the chapter. A little peek forward.
Right. So yes, I'll answer. I'll get to that. So that is one of the big things. So you look at the women in church, the Christian women, you know, the deaconesses, they come to church, they're wearing their white and they're all holy, you know, pastor's wife with a nice hat and thing, right? So you have this image in your head that these women not getting on wild in their bed, you know. You come to church looking all pristine. You cannot picture these women going home and doing that. So as a good Christian girl, you pattern your life. So you're going to be a good wife to your husband. fulfill his sexual needs, of course, in the missionary position, as a good
Right.
Christian woman. You know, you ain't trying to be doing all
Yes,
kind
and
of
pray-
dramatics
pray
and
before meals, yes.
and pray before meals.
Yes.
Yeah. So you stay in a missionary position. All these acrobatics that we see in these books, that is not for you because you are a Christian, right? So that is one of the things that a lot of men complain about. Their wife is not adventurous. She's not willing to try new things. Even when he is offering, she's not willing to try. It's a kind of mind thing because we know that sex is not just physical. Yeah. It's a big mind thing. So if in her mind she's not comfortable, she's not going to go with it.
So on that point, how do a man help the woman be comfortable? What are your suggestions? Because persons are hearing this and be like, okay, how do I do that at this point in my marriage?
So a couple things, right? So we can back up. A couple things. It's important before a person gets married that they have counseling. One of the topics that is covered is premarital counseling is sexual intimacy. Now let me ask you a business. Before you got married, right?
Asking me business. Go ahead.
Yeah, asking you a business. Before you got married, you got premarital counseling.
Yes.
And they talked about sexual intimacy.
Not that much.
No.
No, not that much.
So
A sprinkle.
a sprinkle. So it has been my experience. Now I've heard of some really good counselors, right? Let me put that out there. I've heard of some really good counselors who the couple would go away with activity sheets and compatibility sheets and all that good stuff, right? But a lot of persons are saying, you know, when we went to counseling, they talked about Adam and his wife were naked in the garden and they were unashamed. And you know, the bed is undefiled.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about your body being the temple. And basically that is what it is about. We don't really go into the nitty-gritty of anything. So when you get married, you reach in the honeymoon suite.
And a snake talk to you.
And a snake talk to you. And your wife still with her plastic seal on. And you're standing up wondering, what's the next move? A lot of persons go through this period of their marriage as a very rough patch. You know, trial and error, you get things right, you get things wrong. The honeymoon, a lot of persons report it was a terrible experience, it was traumatic, and months after, they finally get things right with some tweaking, etc. But I believe that even though you might not get everything right the first time, I believe it doesn't have to be traumatic. I believe if with adequate knowledge, it can really be a nice experience. Because I tell people, why are you trying to rush into it the first night? I don't believe that you will die
we have
tomorrow. Yeah,
Like
you have to
honeymoon,
consummate it.
Strip off your clothes, you're excited and everything. It just needs to happen that night.
That's the thing. But I don't think you will die tonight, so it have tomorrow. You know, so you try a little thing tonight, or better yet, you come home, you're tired.
True.
That's normally the
So
experience,
you sleep, you're knock out cold.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you have to report in the morning that you're consummated. So whether or not you're tired, you're trying to take.
Correct.
And it flop. It bound to flop because everybody tired.
Yeah.
Right? Take a nice little sleep. Tomorrow we go again. And if tomorrow we only reach halfway, it have later. You know?
Yeah, now start.
So you now start.
Yeah.
So the need to rush in is something that spoils the whole thing. Years ago, when good sense escaped me, I was actually considering getting married.
Good. What going on there?
Right? And I went to premarital counseling. Now, we already knew the relationship was in the bin. It wasn't going anywhere. But I really, really wanted to know what premarital counseling was like. So I convinced my boyfriend, let's go.
Right. Yeah.
We went to all 6 of the sessions, right? The day the minister announced we were going to talk about sex next, yes, I was excited.
Right.
We went. It was just like the ones before. It was a whole lecture. There wasn't any question and answer. It was just a basic lecture. one session, and that was it. I was so disappointed. So a lot of times people don't get adequate information beforehand. So their mind is still back then when I'm supposed to keep myself to myself. They have not transitioned over to being somebody's lover. They have not transitioned over to being a married person that you don't have to thief anything again. You don't have to thief and not tell your parents. You don't have to ask God for forgiveness because you just sinned. We have not transitioned across there, so we're having some issues. So your question was, how can a husband help? So if you had that before and you were at least in a little bit in terms of your mindset, it would be really, really helpful. How can a husband help? By reassuring his wife. Because one of the big issues that women have, and men too, is getting naked. So when I do premarital sexual intimacy counseling, what I tell couples is, when you are stripping down in front of a person for the first time, it is natural for you to feel a little bit insecure. So while your partner is getting undressed, shower them with compliments. Say, girl, is all that you was hiding under them church dress all this time?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah,
so don't focus on the areas that she know, that you know she's uncomfortable about, right? When your wife is talking about, oh gosh, my belly looking so big, you can kiss her belly for her. Let her know that you don't mind. Yes, you know it's there, but you're loving all that, okay?
Yes.
When she's undressing, so you paint a picture in her mind of all the things that you are seeing, of all the things that you are loving, of all the things that you are actually enjoying and looking forward to. Somebody was telling me about their size, and I was like, you know, there are people who like full-figured women. If everybody liked the skinny girls, who is going to like the thick girls? So you don't have to be worrying about, I wonder if my husband will like me or not. And no, if your husband got to the place where he married you, there must have been something about you that he liked. So for the husband with the little shy, insecure wife, shower her with compliments as she undresses. Pay attention to all her body. Don't shy away. For example, if there's probably a scar that she doesn't like and she's like, oh, I hope he does not see it, then you can kiss it, you know? Like some people have this issue with their C-section scar, right? If you had a baby, you're like, I don't want my husband to see that. Then you can find a way to let your wife know, okay, I adore you for all that you went through. You brought a baby in the world, and now you're so strong, and you're bouncing back. So yes, initially on the honeymoon night, that is something that he can definitely do.
But if that don't work, because you shower with all the compliments that you could give, you kiss all the way you could kiss, and it doesn't seem to get through. What?
So when you say it doesn't get through, exactly what you mean? She doesn't want to take off her clothes, or what?
So let's say you keep on, you hear her reiterating that, nah, I know you like it, but I'm just not comfortable. And then you don't want to pound. So yes, I could come and compliment, touch, kiss, and she's like, still. So I don't want to seem like I'm being forceful now, where she's now communicating to me that, nah, I'm still not feeling confident. What should I do in that moment?
Now, there is a thing that I talk about a lot. I like to talk about self-esteem, having a healthy body image. That is something that impacts people more than they realize. If you are a single person and you have a problem with your size, I tell people, if you find that you have too much size, then you can work on it. If you find you don't have enough size, work on it. But while you are working on it, dress that full figure. I like, and I'm looking into the camera because I know I want to talk to somebody. Dress that figure. If you find that you are too small, dress your body and strut your stuff while you are working on what you need to work on. Right? There's a way that you can make clothes work for you, you know.
Of course.
What?
When you put on clothes, nobody know that you shape like a capital H. What? Because the dress you put on working for you, right? So there are some people who know what colors to wear according to your shade, etc. And you can let that work for you. So as a single person, it's important that you accept your body. It's important that you are able to acknowledge where you might consider to be flawed. And work on that before you get into a couple setting. One of the activities that I like to do when I'm talking about self-esteem in a group setting is I pair people off, just random people, and I let one person write something they don't like about themselves on the paper. And then the other person's job is to refute that. So one of the things that people tell me is that they like my shade of brown. I don't know what people have with the red woman, but suffer it to be so. I tell people, you know, I love your shade of brown. If you're a darker shade, I always tell people that because my shade of brown is very unforgiving. Any little mark, any little scratch, any little thing, you have to see it. The darker shades are very forgiving. You have a scratch, you have a scar, nobody's seen it. So you let that person know that the thing that you are feeling a funny way about is something that somebody might actually appreciate. And another thing that women have a problem with, like if they don't have enough breasts, I wish I had plenty breasts. And then the busty women will tell you of all the problems
the reverse.
that they have with their bra strap digging into their shoulder or the back pain that they're having. So that is one of the things that I think that we can do even before we get married. Look at ourselves and be honest. Don't say, ooh, and it's not. All right? Acknowledge what you feel is a flaw while working on what you can fix. I have a big head. There's nothing I can do about that. I just have to accept that.
So I'm now coming to ask that. So if you put in the exercise, say, all right, all right, my head big, and then you pass the paper and the person like, well, boy, your head really big.
It has
How are we moving on there?
It has a lovely shape.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I always say that if I had a better shaped head, I would take a man cut. Not everybody's head is shaped the same way, right?
True.
So you can find something still. You can still find something.
I get it.
But the thing is, because our self-esteem and how we view ourselves, it is based on a lot of factors that begin from when we were little. It is embedded. So it's not going to go away one time. So if as a husband you're trying to lavish your wife with attention and everything that you think she needs, it is not going to get that problem fixed overnight.
All right. Well, I need to go in there a little bit in terms of what are some of the things people can do in the singleness to deal. Well, first they have to identify that this is a thing. And most times persons know. They watch yourself, they don't like this, they like this. All right. So what are some of the things that you think in singleness people should start being aware of? And what are some of the things you could recommend that they start tackling?
In terms of preparing for getting married?
Yes. But their self-esteem in singleness.
Oh, the self-esteem.
Yes.
You need to identify what your values are.
Right.
Because if we don't know what our worth is, if we don't know what we stand for, if we don't know all those very important things, then we can just pair up with any and everybody. Right? So if we're thinking of self-esteem, and if we think about what price we put on ourselves, and if we think about what our values are, if we know what those are, then we're in a better position to accept somebody in our life who is going to support us according to our values. Because then we see people who get married and then they break up, and when I ask, what's the problem? Well, I'm not the same person I was when I got married. I have evolved, and I now know myself, and this is not the person that I want. Right? So if you can identify what your values are beforehand, then you're in a better position to choose a better partner for you. So that is one of the things that you can do in terms of building your values. Associate with people who make you feel good about yourself. We have some people that have friends that make some really bad jokes. So you always get called big head, you always get called flat nose, you always, and for some people who are thick skinned, that is okay, but there's some people who really take it to heart. And there's some people who will walk with their head down and they would stick with those same friends as though their life depended on it. So if you are in a situation where the people you associate with, they don't really make you feel good about yourself, then maybe you need to reshuffle your deck of card of friends. Find somebody who is going to make you feel good about yourself. If we're talking about your self-esteem, let's think about what are some of the things that you are really good at. One of the things that I do with my students, I say, typically in our society, we were not socialized to blow our own horns. So if I were to be asked, what are some of the things that you are really good at? You know, list some of your accomplishments. I might say, give me a minute. Yeah, give me a minute. Because it will sound as though we boasting. Yeah, full of yourself. But one of the things that can help you recognize, hey, I've accomplished quite a number of things. Hey, I'm not as bad as I am making myself out to look. So if you sit down and you make a list of your accomplishments, go as far back primary school and all, when you spelling bee, right? When you came first in tests in first year, right? Yeah, go way back. Make a list of your accomplishments, all the certificates, all the courses that you did, and you will see that, hey, I have some value, I have some worth. It's not that I'm all that bad. Another thing I encourage people to do is to make this gratitude jar. Get a little container bottle. I actually found one selling, and I bought one for my mom. It's really cute. So it's a gratitude jar. At the end of every day, you write down something, or challenge yourself to write down 2 things that you're actually grateful for, that you're actually thankful for. Another thing I tell people to do is when you get out of the shower in the morning, naked like Adam and Eve, stand in front of the mirror and compliment yourself on all the good that you see. So yes, acknowledging that there are some things that need to fix. Acknowledge all the things that are actually good. There are some people who have, like I heard somebody say, a lady complimented her on her skin and said, you have really nice skin, but she's saying, but I have a whole lot of moles and warts. But I was able to identify for her that below the warts and the moles, you can see your skin is really smooth. Right? So look at yourself in front of the mirror when you come out of the shower and tell yourself, oh, you have nice hair. Whatever nice hair is to you. Oh, you have a really nice smile. Oh, you grew up your whole life, you didn't need to put on braces. You can't find good things if you pick through.
But most times it's be really hard. So for the persons who, I know persons that they might just watch that mirror and they don't want to see the mirror. So I think there's a step missing before we can even get to the mirror and try to find the good thing. Like how could they reach to that place mentally to even act, to do the act of just watching yourself and let me try to find something good.
So I actually met a girl like that, and when I told her to do that, we didn't do the mirror thing. I told her in my office, write down 5 good things about yourself, and she was not able to. And I pointed out 5 good things about her. So sometimes people just need a prompt. Sometimes you're in such a deep slump that you're not able to identify. And even as I was identifying the positive things about her, she was trying to take it away from me. It's like,
reflex.
Yeah, it was like, I really like your hair. If I message real hard to come, you know. Hello, I just said I like your hair. Your hair is nice and thick and full and healthy. Don't, oh gosh, my message real hard to come. So, like you said, it's reflex for us to go by the negative. So sometimes if somebody pulls it out, you might not say, she would come back one day and say, you know, miss, I only find 2 good things this morning. Yeah, but the next day she found 3.
Nice,
right? So it's not something that we get one time. It's something that you have to stick with and practice and keep going at it. So with time, we're not talking about you nagging your wife, nagging your wife. But with time, all the showers of affection and love, she might start to be convinced that you are genuine. And then she might need some outside help as well. Or you might need to go and talk to somebody to find out, okay, what can I do when you come back and you talk to her and help to fill it in. The experience of sexual intimacy and sexual intercourse is so vulnerable. I think people miss that. They think, okay, we're just going to have sex. But you have to be so vulnerable that you have to be mature. You have to be mature to be deciding that you're going to have sex, because it's not like we're teething anything behind the building. I mean, we're going to have to strip down. We're going to be married for a very long time. So, yeah, you have to be mentally prepared for what is going to happen here. If you are not, then you can put that relationship in jeopardy. Because one of the things that a lot of, when the husbands complain to me, they say their wife is not adventurous because she just wants to lie in one position. And somebody actually told me, because I'm fat, I prefer to lie down flat. Because you know, when I lie flat, everything falls nicely in place, right? But if I go on top, things will start to shake around. It's not attractive. So, you know, you mentally, you're not present. Mentally, you're thinking, oh gosh, I wonder what he's thinking. Oh gosh, what's he thinking, you know? So you're putting yourself in a position where you think it's the most attractive and you're going to stay there.
How do you learn in your singleness? What are the attractive traits in these positions? Or it should, well, actually not in a single state, but you have to learn that as a Christian. You have to learn that within marriage, right? But let's say you only know, well, as they say, you come pre-rap, prim and proper because you're the good girl. So you're lying down, missionary, hands flat to the bed, and that is it.
But where did you learn that?
But that's the thing. Where did you? Nah, that's what. That's what. She didn't learn that. But that's the thing. It is probably a misconception that is happening around, and people think that is the pure way of having it. So how do we now learn that if it wasn't a learned thing before?
Not just learn, unlearn.
Or unlearn the wrong thing.
The pure way. That's quite an interesting way to put it, huh?
Well, that is what has been perceived.
Yes, the good Christian position, right?
Yes.
The thing is, again, when you get married and you start experiencing sexual intercourse, you would recognize that sometimes one position alone wouldn't cut it. So we are not telling you that you're changing up positions just to test your flexibility or to try and see if you can tick off all the positions in the Kama Sutra.
Right.
That is not where we're going with this. Certain positions will do different things for you.
Right.
So if you lie flat on your back, you'll probably get a particular sensation. If you go on top, you get a different sensation. If you lie side to side, you get a different sensation.
Right.
So once you start experimenting, then you would recognize, hey, you know what? I think I need to speed things up a bit. And this is a position that I know would speed up because you've tried it before, right? And then when you start to speed things up, it's like, okay, like this is coming to the end faster than I wanted to. So you switch to another position that you know is going to slow down things a bit. So it's not about trying to engage in acrobatics. It's about realizing that the one position every night ain't cutting it. And it's about being open enough to be adventurous and not be embarrassed. Because if you're saying you're trying out these new positions and let's say one person falls off the bed or we laugh. Or in a new position you saw in a book and you recognize, nah boy, I'm not as young as I used to be. This ain't working, you know. This is a little more difficult than I anticipated.
Hamstring pull up.
Hamstring pull, you get a big Charlie horse. That is not what we were going for, right? So you don't try it again, but you laugh. You have some fun. But the thing is, you cannot be thinking at that point about how awkward you're looking or how embarrassed you're feeling. That's just going to kill the mood. Because you have to be in the moment.
So
right?
I have a question in terms of, killing the mood and you want this a certain way. When do you communicate that to your partner? Live action going on? Or like where, when, and how do you communicate your needs to your partner?
Now, bearing in mind that communication doesn't always have to be verbal. There are lots of ways that you can do that. You can do it in and you can do it after, right? So in the act, so some persons, they don't like, no baby, not so, go so. No, nah, stop, move, okay, move, higher, no, higher, longer, go, right. Some people find that is very distracting.
Yeah.
But there are things that you can do that is actually non-verbal. So you can move your partner's hand. Right. So for example, if you find, not you, but if you find that if you find that your husband is really excited and he's really ready to touch your vulva, but mentally and physically you're not there yet, you can just gently move his hand away, or you can position your body in a different way.
And when then you are moving my hand.
No. So it's according to how you do it. You batted him away, right? Because if you bat it away, then things might just go south. Yeah.
No, right? let me put a little more context with this, right? So the thing is, right? So let's say you haven't had all the nice communication I'll be talking about now, and you're now trying to figure it out, and you're taking that gesture as, okay, something is wrong, and not taking it as, oh, she's guiding me along. Because most times you're taking it as, well, something wrong.
So at a point, if your hand gets moved away and you feel kind of shy, you don't want to put it back. When she is ready, she will guide it back.
Okay, and if she guide it back, are we done there?
When she is ready, she will guide it back, all right?
Right.
Because she's realizing that, no, he ain't putting it back because I just turned it, right? So when she's ready, she will guide it back. So by guiding your partner's hands, by the way you position your body, by the noises that you make. So your partner, one of the ways that your partner would know if a particular move they just made, if it is really exciting or if it's not too much, you listen to the songs that your partner makes. And that's why we tell people, you see this quiet thing that you're trying to do inside here?
But if somebody's just a quiet person,
I get that all the time. No, I'm not telling you
to come out of character.
Right, I'm not telling you to come out of character, because then you will say, all right, so tonight when my husband touched my breast, I will say, ah. And then when he touched my bottom, I'll say, oh. Yeah. And so you practice beforehand.
In the key of C.
Right. Right, that's what we're talking about. You need to come, because it will come across too mechanical. So that is not what we're talking about. But I remember looking at an episode of 10 Years Younger with Stacey and Clinton, and they told us how they make the episode. They said they tell the people when they see a particular item of clothing, everything that's in your mind, say it out loud, because remember, we have to follow them around with the camera, and so we need to know exactly what you're thinking. So that is one of the things that I tell couples. What you're thinking, express it, right? So if you're thinking, oh, that feels really good, say it aloud, say it aloud. If you want to make a particular song, but you're thinking you'll probably sound like an animal, make the song still, okay? Make the song still. So yes, there are lots of people who say, I'm really quiet, but you have to kind of come out of that, because sometimes your partner would need some gentle guiding, and the noises that you make will definitely help them. And the thing about that quietness, because a lot of persons, when they were growing up, they were helping themselves to themselves, right? Yes. So they were masturbating. You have to be quiet because you don't want your parents to know what you're doing. So a lot of the boys grew up masturbating stealth. You do it like a ninja. So nobody knows what you're doing. And when you climax, you can't make no noise because everybody will know. And when you get married, that's what you're accustomed to, right? The same thing with the female. You don't want anybody to know what you're doing. So when you get married now, that is what you're accustomed to. So it's about understanding that you're not acting, but it's that you're communicating to your partner. So the noises that you make during the act, they change in position. For example, if your partner goes into you too deep, you might change your position. Right. And then he would know, okay, that is probably a little bit uncomfortable. For example, if somebody has fibroids, there are certain positions that would probably be uncomfortable for them. So when you move your body, then your husband will know, okay, I probably hit where I wasn't supposed to hit. So that is a way of communicating as well. When you are finished, most men don't like you to just go through the post-mortem one time. Babe, you see that thing you did behind my ears? Don't do it again. I really don't like it. Right? So next day, you have to send little sexy notes to each other. You know, that new thing you tried last night, it was really good. Send little love notes to each other. Or what you can do is to ask for more of something. And if you're asking for more of something, then the person knows that you like that. And the person might say, but I'll try something new. I find like you didn't mention it. Then they would know, okay, you didn't particularly like it. So it is not about straight talking and coming out right and saying what I like and what I didn't like, because that could be a mood killer. And sex is very, very sensitive, right? So nobody wants to know that they pull out their A game last night. Only to find out tomorrow.
That was just in your mind.
So you really have to be comfortable and sensitive when you're bringing that up. But it's important. Sex is not about a guessing game. Because you don't want to know that, like I said, you're trying something all these years. And after you've been married for 15 years, your partner tells you, I don't like that, you know. But you were busy doing it every single session.
Thinking that you go to. So I want to touch on the dynamic of virgin and non-virgin in the marital bed. Because now you have someone who has tasted the unforbidden waters before and now develop their likes and understand themselves, and now you going into your marriage and now that person needs to learn these things about you, but then again they didn't have the experiences you had, and now you're coming in with what Sandra to do and what so and so to do, and they didn't like that. How do you work around that dynamic in terms of communication and helping each other understand the history, what history they have?
And that is definitely an argument for staying pure until you get married. Because then you have nobody to compare with, and whatever your partner does is going to take you to glory. Right? Of course, some people just get it wrong, whether you had experience in the past or not. Some people just get it wrong. One of the things that some persons have had to realize is that sometimes their current experience is never going to match their history. Unfortunately. So sometimes you've had multiple partners and you had a really, really good time, and then you decide that this is the woman you're going to get married, and you believe that this is the experience that is going to last forever. I mean, when you roll over, the woman is right there. So you have it on demand. You're looking forward to that. And when you get into the experience, it's not measuring up. That has been the experience of quite a number of persons. Sometimes they have to accept that it is not going to be replicated, that this is the person that they got married to. And sometimes it's not that they're not satisfied, you know. It's that they are satisfied. It's just that they want all the acrobatics and all the excitement, right?
The extra,
So their current partner is fulfilling a need, but not as explosive as their previous partners. And sometimes you would try to see if you could get your partner to be like your previous partners, and sometimes it never happens. And sometimes you just have to relax and realize this is something new. This is a new person. This is a new experience with this person, and I should not be comparing them or expecting them to be like some other person. So you have to look at what you have going on. Look at the good that exists. This person has never said no to you. They never turn you down. They're willing. You know, they're willing, and whatever they're doing, they're into it. It's just that they're not backflipping and standing on their head. And, right? So sometimes sometimes couples just have to understand that this is their current situation. And it's not like their sex life is not healthy. It's just that what is happening is that they have comparisons. It's just like a couple who might be happily married, but then they look at another person's relationship.
Right.
And they suddenly find they have problems. They don't have any problems, you know. Whatever is going on by them is working. But you're making a comparison. So that is always a danger with the comparison when you believe that something is better. It's not like what you have is not good.
Yeah.
But you're just looking for better because you knew better. And like I said again, and that there is a sure argument for purity until marriage.
So you mentioned healthy sex in marriage just a while ago. And once I asked the question of what do you think, or is there a number of like times in a marriage you say, this is a healthy amount of times for you to have sex? Because we have people comparing, it's like, again, it's so much good, you're getting none, you know, and what are the factors that play into that? And even if that is the problem, do we have to, you know, go through, like, see if there is a problem within the marriage? Because there's none, there's a little bit, there's once a month, once a year, like, you know.
Okay, once a year is a problem, okay? Let me just put that out there.
I just throwing that number.
So when people think of a healthy sex life, the first thing they do is to think about number of times. Right? When you think about a healthy sex life, if your sex life is healthy, you think about numbers. Numbers do not identify whether your marriage is healthy or not. That is not what identifies that, right? So we have couples who have sex once a week, and that is good for them. We have couples who have sex 3 times a week, and that is okay for them. We have to remember that every couple has a different dynamic going on. So if you're newlywed, you might be having sex 3 times a day, right? If there's an older couple and you report that we're having sex 3 times a day, it is unrealistic for them to try to compare. Right? These people are now married and now getting into each other. Probably they were both virgins, so this is brand new. I mean, they're going at it like bunnies.
Fresh out the oven.
Yes. Then we probably have a couple who they have children. And so the frequency with which they could have done it before, they don't really have that liberty, because whereas they could have just come home, strip off their clothes, be right in the living room, we have the little children running about. You have to see what the little children, make sure they're tucked in and right. So the dynamics is different. If we have a case where one person is deliberately withholding it from the other person, all being equal, so there are not health issues or children running around or anything, and you're only having it once every 2 weeks or so, we will say that is a little unhealthy, right? So it is not about, when we talk about a healthy sex life, we don't particularly look at the number of times per week. Identifying a healthy sex life, there are lots of other factors. For example, it's important that you feel loved after, and you didn't feel used. You didn't feel like an object. It's important that your love bank went up a couple notches after you were done.
How the fellas could help with that? Because most times I just hear ladies, airing that side, that they don't feel loved.
They don't feel loved?
After.
Really?
Because who fall asleep after, who just snap out the yawn.
No, the thing about that yawn, right? The thing about that yawn, and ladies do complain about it, right? And I must say that I have not gone into a lot of research about that. But I think that if you have a healthy sex life and your husband passes out, I think that's your trophy there, man.
Ah, boy.
I mean, you have skills. You have skills.
Sleep.
You have skills. Now, if you find that you want to cuddle and he busy snoring, you might tell him, okay, last a little 1 minute and let me at least hug you up now.
Right.
Or if he falls asleep before you finish. So as soon as he gets his climax, he's busy snoring and he leaves you undone, then then we have a problem,
Of
right?
course.
But yes, so the ladies tend to somehow have a little more energy left in the bank after the men. And I wouldn't particularly think that that is a huge issue, right?
Okay.
So you feel loved after you're done. You feel like you can say no when there's something that you are not comfortable with. You don't feel like you have to because your partner brought it up, so you have to, but you're not comfortable. You feel like you can't say no. No.
Yeah.
You don't feel used like an object. You are in a position to identify when things are going a little sour in your sex life, and you take steps to revive it. So yes, there are different stages, and at the beginning you might be going at it like bunnies, and then things start to go down based on your schedules, your life, whatever. But even if you're having sex only once a week, you might be able to tell if you're only having sex once a week because the both of you all vex with each other, as opposed to the schedule busy.
Yeah.
So being in a position to identify when something is going wrong and put things in place to revive it and not just let it die and say, girl, you know, we had a good run. We had a good couple years, you know. But we could wrap it up now. We can wrap it up.
But you mentioned schedule just now, right?
Yes.
And that's a big thing. Do you
Yes.
think that you should schedule sex? Because some people is like that's like planning, you're going to do something, you take out the romance from it. And I mean, life is happening. You know, do you think that you should schedule sex?
So like you said, a lot of people think that it's not romantic.
Yeah.
But if you don't schedule it, sometimes it would never happen.
Right. Yeah.
So just like you have to go to the hairdresser next week Monday, next week Tuesday, you probably have to go do your nails. You write that down somewhere in your calendar, in the phone, something. And if somebody calls, you can check and say, nah, I'm free that time now, because you already have something scheduled. And sometimes if you did not write it down, you would miss the appointment.
Right.
Sometimes when it's like an hour or two before you hear your phone going off, there's a reminder of whatever it is you have coming up.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the healthy sex life. Sometimes life gets so busy that you have to schedule it in. I went to university with a lady once, and she was studying. Her husband was studying, and she said for a whole week nothing happened, and she said, hello, we living in this house like brother and sister. We need to cut this out, right? So it sometimes doesn't sound very romantic, but sometimes it becomes necessary because life becomes so hectic, and it's not like we don't care about each other. It's not like we don't feel attracted to each other, but it's just that if we take on everything that's happening, we will just pass out in bed at the end of the night.
Yeah, correct.
So scheduling it in sometimes is the only way to get it done. And when you schedule it, don't take in any other appointments, because you know your mother call. I mean, it's your mother. Your mother call.
When we
A
call
good
next
example.
week, we talk to you next
Mother
week.
call. So you say, no, I had something planned, but it's not important what it is. And then mommy come across because it's your mother, right?
Yeah.
But treat it like something really important, because it is something important, right? It's one of those things that nurtures the relationship, that keeps you and your husband bonded close together. So treat it like a doctor's appointment, or sometimes you miss a hairdresser appointment and you have to pay still. So treat it like that.
I'll have to double up the next time then.
Well, yes, right? But try not to miss it, eh? Try not to miss the appointment. So yes, it might sound not romantic, but sometimes it becomes necessary. And when it's that time, put things in place. You might have to call the sitter, you might have to put the children by the in-laws, by the auntie. Make it special. So it's something that you look forward to. Yeah. So a lot of times, a couple would say we are not having a lot of sex, and the husband would report, every time we have sex is because I initiated it. So I feel she does not want to have sex. Now, if you are the person asking all the time, that means that you are the person getting all the rejections.